What is the one thing you're thankful for in 2020 that's not synth related? Hello there and welcome to another BoBeats video. My name is Bo and we reached 80,000 subscribers the other week, and I thought, why not do a big 80k subscriber Q&A? So I asked for questions over on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook, and here are my answers. What is the one thing you're thankful for in 2020 that's not synth related? I think I'm most thankful for the fact that I'm living in Sweden. I just love my country. I think the people here are great. We have a good government. And I'm also very thankful that my friends and, more importantly, my family have been healthy during this pandemic. So yeah, I'm just very thankful for that. How is it to have a separate place as a studio other than your house? What's the pros and cons? Big pro is that I can work without getting disturbed by my family. And secondly, it's really nice to have my work somewhere else than my house, because it can become quite stressful to see your work every day. Sometimes you just need to, have some distance to it. Some of the cons, it's expensive. It's a lot of work setting it up, and you actually have to get there. You have to actually go to your studio every single day. And some days, some days I'm just a normal human that doesn't want to jump on my bike and ride to that side of town in the pouring rain. So that's a big con. And Daniel, he asks over on Facebook, how many cables do you have in your studio in total? And I'd say that I have... I probably do have enough to last me a lifetime. Yeah. What is your dream synth? Well, that's a good question. I'd say something like the Polybrute, but with more voices and multiple parts and a really good electron sequencer. So like a flagship analog poly with effects and a sequencer and kind of an electron workflow, I guess. That could also be able to sequence external gear. And yeah, I probably want audio over USB and some kind of overbridge integration as well. That'd be really nice, as well as some kind of one-to-one integration with the software with a DAW, for example. That'd be really cool as well. So just that you could have it, create music on it, and then seamlessly integrate it with your computer. That would probably be my dream synth. Have you ever broken some gear? Yeah, I broke a CD player, a CD Walkman when I was young. And after that, I had so much anxiety over breaking stuff that I actually never broke something again. I think I might have broken my Moog Sub 37 when it was shipped over here to the studio. I hope it's not broken. There's something rattling inside of it, so maybe I should open it up and see. But I have a bit of anxiety over that, so maybe I'll just pretend like it's nothing. And for the record, I'm drinking my coffee here just above the Polybrute. It's down here. I just wanted to give you all some anxiety here. Timothy suggested that I should do a video on a small home studio setup, something affordable, mixer, speakers, audio interface, and that sort of stuff, like a small home studio setup, and a video about that. And yeah, I'm actually really into that idea. So if you think that's a good idea, hit the thumbs up, leave a comment so I know that that's something you want to see, because I actually have a spare bedroom at home. So now that I'm building my larger studio, I actually have a need for a small home studio, something really small that doesn't annoy my partner. So if you want to see me turn my spare bedroom into a small home studio, something a lot more affordable than what I got going here, let me know in the comments, thumbs up or something like that. What do you do when you feel like you lost inspiration? Well, that's really a difficult question. Depends on what kind of block we're talking about. If you're stuck and you feel a lot of stress and anxiety, you have to do something to relieve that stress and anxiety, preferably doing something other than the tasks that give you stress and anxiety. A long walk, training, meditation, something like that to kind of lessen the stress and anxiety. And if you're stuck and you're feeling low, maybe even a bit depressed, maybe you're filled with self-doubt, then I think it's very important to have a creative routine that you stick to. So you follow your creative routine, do the creative things that you want to do or that you have set out to do, and don't focus on the goals, don't focus on the outcome, but rather focus on maintaining that routine and evaluate what you're doing later when you're not feeling so low. Because if you just kind of quit then and there when you're feeling low, the risk is that it would just become harder and harder to get things done. So routines are actually very effective to combat feeling low. So it's different sort of activations needed depending on what this block is really about. My friend Mylar Melodies, he asks, what is the optimal brew time for a truly great cup of tea? Thank you, Mylar, for that question. Now, the scientific answer is, of course, 0. Because you don't brew tea. You make coffee. How old are you and what do you do for a living? I'm 35 years old and I look like I'm 45, and that's, yeah. And for a living, well, I'm a licensed teacher and licensed psychotherapist. And I used to work at a university and I used to work at a health clinic. And I just felt like taking some time off and just focusing on my creative work. And that's what I'm doing right now. So I am a full-time synth YouTuber, you could say. So that's what I do for a living right now anyway, and for the foreseeable future. I actually took a leap of faith, took 2020 off from work, wanted to focus on YouTube, making music, be creative, having just fun, reconnecting with like my older passion of music and creative work. And that has went pretty well for me, and I'm actually continuing. I'm gonna continue to do this full time for a couple of years forward and see where it leads me. So that's what I'm doing right now. What inspired you to do your job today, and what motivates you to work and upload videos? The answer to this question is two-part. Firstly, I really love expressing myself creatively, so I think that is what drives me on every day. I have something here that I want to put out there. Secondly, I'm really motivated by the response that I get from you, the community. That's one of the awesome things about YouTube, that you can have this direct interaction and I, get some feedback right back. And that's just a really nice feeling to know that I have impacted your life in some small way. So that's something which is hugely important to me and my motivation. Why are you so awesome? Well, yeah, thank you. I don't know, but thank you. Sinking Feeling asks over on Twitter, what's your favorite digital synth or Groovebox that you reviewed on your channel? So I've tried a ton of Grooveboxes. There's many to pick from. Deluge, MC707, MC101. You have the Circuit, you have Digitone, just to mention a few. But my absolute favorite is, simply put, the Machina Plus. And that is because I'm a Machina guy. I've been using Machina for quite some time. I know the workflow. And I just really, really like it. It might not be for you though, but for me personally, it's just the best workstation I've ever used. And yeah, and I am working on like a full review of it. I'm just not stressing it because, yeah, I want to take my time with it, but I'm really enjoying it so far. Studio Geek says, congrats Bo, I remember when you had less than 8K subscribers, and I remember you from back when I had less than 8K subscribers, so thanks for sticking around. How old were you when you got into synths? Well, I'd say probably 13. I think we had some synths in the school I went to and I just loved playing on them. I played Jump on them. Do you use any VST synths? Yes, I do. I actually do like Pigments from Arturia. I like a lot of the Native Instruments stuff. I've been dabbling some more with Reason, using it as a VST. So yeah, I do use VSTs quite often. But it's not something I cover a lot here on the channel because I'm more hardware focused. Would you be interested to develop a module for a eurorack synthesizer? Maybe, in many years. I feel like I'm way too much of a beginner to even think about something like that, and I'm not that technical, so I'd probably need like a ton of help. And yeah, so maybe in like 5 to 10 years, maybe. You inspired me to get a Minilogue XD. What's your favorite part about this synth? I think it's the fact that you can load your own custom oscillators and effects. I think that's what makes it truly stand out. Killian asks, why did you start making music? Because it was just a lot of fun. I just enjoyed the process of making music. Dachipuchi asks, are you actually Norwegian and made up a fake Swedish accent for YouTube fame? Yes, because this accent here, the Swedish Swinglish accent, is the most beautiful ever. We say video and stuff like that. Funny enough, my last name is actually Finnish and not Norwegian, and that's because my grandmother is from Finland. Michelle asks, do you miss your old hairstyle? And the answer is no, I actually don't. I really like having it short. It also looks better on camera, so And here's a question from Mick. Do you prefer the Digitone or Digitone keys to the OPsix? So the OPsix, Korg's new FM synthesizer. So which one do I like the most? I think I like the Digitone the most because I really like Grooveboxes. So it's like an FM workstation, if you will. You can create an arrangement on it. Whereas the OPsix is more of a traditional FM synth. Sure, it has a lot of new features as well and unique aspects to it. It's more your traditional FM synth than an FM workstation. Maybe you should make a video about how to go modular, some modules you like and why. And yeah, that's actually a really cool idea. And I've been thinking about revisiting like the eurorack with Bow series, but do it a little bit more focused on like how to start as a beginner. So let me know if that's something you want to see. And of course, if you haven't watched Noir et Blanc V's series on how to go modular, how to start with eurorack, I'll link it somewhere here down below. It's definitely worth a watch. Any interest in sequential products? Just got the Pro 3 and I would love to see your take on it. Sequential is one of those brands that I know makes awesome instruments, really beautiful stuff, sounds lovely, great build quality. However, it's not a brand that I have any sort of connection to. Historically, I have never bought something from Sequential or DSI. I don't really know why. Just like with Nord, for example, I just haven't gotten into their ecosystem, their synths. So yes, I'm super interested in doing something with Sequential, but I just haven't gotten to them yet. And there's other brands as well that I haven't tried their stuff. So yeah, the list is pretty long at this point. What is your favorite method of creating samples? Well, I'd say that it's taking, say, my eurorack or some really cool synth like the Analog Rhythm Mark II, for example, connecting it to my Machina, either Machina with software or Machina Plus, and then just tweaking a ton of drum sounds on the eurorack or on the Analog Rhythm and just sampling one-shots because I really like sampling drum samples. I just really enjoy tweaking sounds on a hardware synth, sampling one-shots into Machina because it's fast, it's very intuitive, and you suddenly have like a drum kit that sounds pretty original and interesting. And if you want to download some of those samples that I have sampled this way, I have 2 free sample packs that you can go and check out. So that's my favorite method of creating samples. Now this here is a really interesting question. Will you be making any videos on workflow on the process of how you make your music? So basically showcasing how I make music and translate that into a video. Now, this is a really good question. I've said it multiple times that I'd love to do more stuff like that, show my workflow. The problem is that my workflow is not linear. I go back and forth, I change things all the time. And because my skills as a video editor and filmmaker really is not on that level yet where I can make sense of all that, it's been really hard. Basically, I always feel like the videos get way too long or it doesn't really showcase the process in a good way. So I just haven't found the right format for it, but it's definitely something I want to do. Chris asks, if you were building a channel from the ground up again, what would you do differently? I would take it maybe a bit slower, not trying to do everything, but limiting myself to a few things where I can see that I'm actually doing well. Stuff where I have fun, where I feel competent, and where I get the sort of reaction that I was looking for, I guess, instead of like spreading myself too thin, because I have been doing a lot of different things on the channel, and it's not really sustainable. So it's better to focus on a few things that you know you do well and that's fun to you. What are some of the more surprising and or difficult things about being a YouTuber? I think firstly, the time and energy that it takes to prepare for a video. That's something you guys don't see. How much energy is going into these videos that we make here as synth YouTubers. It's actually staggering sometimes. And then you have all the time and energy needed to edit the video, polish it, you have to upload, you have to promote it somehow. There's a ton of things that go into it that I didn't quite expect when I started my channel and that I don't think people realize. Secondly, and this is something which is a lot more difficult than you might imagine, that's dealing with all the people around you, and many of which are actually quite negative and toxic, and people that do not respect you as a creator but they still feel entitled to you and your time. That can be difficult to handle sometimes, because most of us who do this, we want to be nice people. We want to be accessible. We want you to ask questions. We want to be approachable. But at the same time, that exposes somebody like myself to a lot of negativity, which can be difficult to handle and sometimes quite depressing even. What's your first synth to ever own, and when did you get it? I think I was 14 or 15 and I got the Yamaha RM1X Groovebox, which I still miss to this day. And then my second synth was the Yamaha DX100, which I never learned to this day. And I don't know, I just used it as a MIDI keyboard for my RM1X basically. So those were my first synths. Why no love for the Monologue? So it's not that I don't like it. I tried it, it seems really cool. But as you know, I test a lot of gear, and every piece of gear I test, I want to form a relationship to, because what's it all for if I'm not really deep diving into something? So when the Monologue came out, I was just really busy with other things, and I didn't really feel like it was something I wanted to revisit. So it's just one of those synths I missed out on. Mark asks over on Twitter, how has creating the channel over the years affected your musical output? It's a complicated question, because I was super creative when it came to music when I was like 20, 25, up to 28 maybe. And then I had a bit of a break, and then I started my channel. So if I compare my musical output now to when I was like 25, I make a lot less music now than what I did when I was 25 and I was looking into having music production as a career. But if I compare 2020 to 2010, I make a lot more music now. So my YouTube channel was something that propelled me into a more creative life than I was in previously. And I just hope I will be able to make more and more music as the years go by. What eurorack modules would you buy next if you've got the Nifty bundle and was starting with modular? I would look at the Dreadbox Chromatic series, because I think that's a really nice budget option and fits very well with the Nifty bundle. Favorite synth of all time? Well, I'm gonna be like real with you. I actually think the minilogue is still the synth that I enjoy the most. Probably because I know it the best. Probably because it's a synth that I formed an attachment to and it feels like second nature to tweak it. Not because it sounds the best. Not that there's a real objective answer to which synth sounds the best. Just that it's a lovely instrument that I enjoy working with. So I will say the minilogue. Congratulations on your 80K. You do an amazing job. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for being here and watching. Top advice for someone who's starting their YouTube journey in the music field. Well, I think you have to find something which you are passionate about, start making videos, start uploading them, and see where it leads you. I think it's just better to do something that you're passionate about, and if success comes, it comes. But if you're persistent and you upload regularly, that's the most important thing, and you have a bit of luck, it can work out for you. But do something which is fun for you. Don't do it because you crave success, because generally that doesn't work. So thank you everybody who left questions. Thank you for watching this 80K subscriber Q&A. I really want to hit 100,000 subscribers, because that would be like a massive milestone. If you want to help out, share my videos around. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up, subscribe, all that stuff. And thank you so much for being here. Talk to you later.